Welcome back. Now we begin our news bulletin from right here in Pakistan, where security forces have thwarted a major terrorist attack on the Stock Exchange building in Karachi. At a press briefing, the Sindh Rangers Director General Omar Ahmed Bukhari said all 4 gunmen were killed in just the 8-minute-long operation. Bukhari said 3 others, including a police officer, were martyred during the gunfight. He said 7 people were wounded in the terrorist attack. A clearance operation was held later. Initial reports said 4 attackers came out of their vehicle and threw grenades and entered the building. Weapons and hand grenades have been recovered from the attackers. In occupied Kashmir, Indian troops have martyred 3 more youth, raising this month's toll to nearly 50 so far. Occupation forces martyred the civilians during a cordon and search operation in Runipura area of the district. The operation is still ongoing. Authorities have suspended mobile internet services and have blocked all exit and entry points to the area. The occupied valley has been under New Delhi's crushing curfew and communication blackout for the past 322 days. In India, police have revealed that 11 places of Muslim worship were attacked during February's riots in northeast Delhi. In response to queries under the Right to Information Act, Delhi police said 8 mosques, 2 madrasas and 1 dargah were damaged in the riots. Police said that 11 FIRs have been filed in connection with the attacks on mosques, madrasas and dargahs. It said 31 people have been arrested, out of which 7 have been released on bail and 4 charge sheets have been filed so far. Police said 2 FIRs have also been lodged and arrested 2 people in connection with attacks on 2 Hindu places of worship. The details provided by Delhi police are different from the figure given by the Delhi Waqf Board. According to the Waqf Board, 19 mosques were damaged during the riots. On to Brazil, where 552 more people have died from COVID-19, while over 30,000 cases have been recorded in the past 24 hours. The global number of deaths from the new coronavirus has exceeded 500,000, with infections crossing 10 million. More on that now in this report.
Latin America remains the hardest hit region from the coronavirus pandemic, reporting the highest number of deaths and cases every day. Meanwhile, the US is at risk of becoming the coronavirus epicenter again as cases surge in the south, with Texas reporting more than 5,000 cases every 24 hours. The US Health Secretary has called for a dire need for containment measures.
But the window is closing. We have to act, and people as individuals have to act responsibly. We need to social distance. We need to wear our face coverings if we're in settings where we can't social distance, particularly in these hot zones.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin has called on the international community to consolidate its efforts instead of exchanging accusations in the fight against COVID-19. China continues to report new cases in double digits as it undergoes the second wave of coronavirus. South Korea is also planning to introduce a 3-level system of social distancing in the country due to a second flare-up of infections. Meanwhile, Iran has launched a campaign to motivate its rather reluctant public to use protective masks at all times.
People must observe health protocols to fight coronavirus, and that we have no second choice. No cure or vaccine for coronavirus has been found yet, so that we must observe the health protocols.
Australia has seen the biggest daily rise in COVID-19 cases in 2 months. The state of Victoria has recorded 75 cases of coronavirus in the past 24 hours, raising major concerns regarding a full-blown second wave.
Here in Pakistan, 49 more people have died from COVID-19 in the past 24 hours, taking the death toll to 4,167. The Health Ministry has said more than 3,500 new cases were detected overnight, with the tally crossing 206,000. The ministry said that more than 95,000 people have recovered, with nearly 2,500 in critical condition. The province of Sindh is worst hit by the virus, with over 80,000 infections. Punjab has reported nearly 75,000 cases. In Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, there are nearly 26,000 infections, while there are over 10,000 cases in Balochistan. The capital city, Islamabad, has reported nearly 13,000 cases. Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan have nearly 2,500 cases. At least 6 civilians, including women and children, have been killed in a roadside mine blast in the southern Helmand province of Afghanistan. The provincial police chief's spokesperson, Muhammad Zaman Hamdard, says the incident took place in the Washir district. Hamdard said 2 other civilians were wounded in the blast. He said the victims have been taken to a nearby hospital. No group has claimed responsibility for the blast yet. U.S. envoy Zalmay Khalilzad is visiting Doha, Islamabad and Tashkent to garner support for all Afghans to meet the remaining commitments ahead of intra-Afghan talks. The State Department said Khalilzad would also urge all stakeholders for reduced violence and the timely release of prisoners as agreed upon in the Doha deal. Khalilzad is also joined by U.S. International Development Finance Corporation CEO Adam Bowler and his team. The delegation will explore investment opportunities and partnerships in a range of sectors to advance the economic recovery of Afghanistan. The U.S. envoy and CEO Bowler will conduct meetings with Afghan officials remotely via video due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Yemeni human rights groups say Houthi rebels have held over 20,000 people in hundreds of prisons across the country. In a presser, the Yemeni Coalition to Monitor Human Rights Violations said the country went through its worst humanitarian crisis during the past year. The group said Houthis' systematic violations are responsible for half of Yemen's problems. It said tens of thousands of people who had challenged the Houthis' rule were being held in secret and unknown jails. The coalition said the rebels recruited 7,000 children and was responsible for planting landmines that killed 6,000 people. Yemen has been entangled in violence and chaos since 2014 after Houthis overran much of the country, including the capital, Sana'a. Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has accused the Indian embassy in Kathmandu of being behind a plot to topple him. Addressing an event in Kathmandu, Oli said the conspiracies are being hatched to ensure his removal after he released Nepal's new map. PM Oli, who is facing mounting criticism from within the ruling Communist Party and outside, said Indian attempts to de-seat him will not succeed. This comes after Nepal issued a map that showed disputed areas of Kalapani, Lipulekh, and Lipiarduri as Nepalese territory. New Delhi had earlier issued its revised map showing these areas as Indian territories. On to Bangladesh, where 30 people have died after a ferry carrying some 50 passengers sank in a river following a collision with another vessel. Officials say dozens are still missing as rescue operations continue in the Buriganga River, which flows past the outskirts of the capital, Dhaka. The vessel was hit at Farashganj area near the country's largest river port of Sadarhat. Eyewitnesses say some passengers managed to swim to land. In the Philippines, meanwhile, 14 people are missing after a fishing boat collided with a Hong Kong cargo vessel in choppy waters off the western coast of Mamburao. Officials say the Philippine Coast Guard is searching for missing people, but bad weather is impeding those rescue efforts. The Coast Guard said the cause of the collision is not yet clear. It said that a light plane and helicopter have joined the Coast Guard ship in the search. Officials said the fishing boat was heading for metropolitan Manila when the collision occurred. The damaged boat was spotted hours later, but there was no sign of a crew. The Hong Kong-flagged cargo vessel with 20 crew members on board was not carrying any cargo at the time of the collision and was en route to Australia. At least 12 people have died and 10 others are missing due to heavy rains in China's southwestern province of Sichuan. State media said the rainstorm has triggered floods in the province. State media said 2 cars fell into the river in the Gaoyang region due to the flood-damaged roads. It said rescue and relief efforts are underway. Nearly 10,000 people are in the disaster area, while over 7,700 local residents have been evacuated. U.S. President Donald Trump has invited anger from the black community after retweeting a white supremacist video. The only black senator in the Republican Party, Tim Scott, called the act profanity-laced, offensive, and indefensible. The video on Twitter shows one of Trump's supporters in Florida shouting "white power" at protesters of his administration. It was later deleted from Trump's feed. Senator and former Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders said, "Just when you think Trump cannot be more vile or racist, he outdoes himself." Meanwhile, Mississippi has voted to change its state flag, which includes a Confederate battle emblem that has been widely condemned as racist. I'll be back after this break with plenty more news. Stay tuned. Let's begin this half in Poland, where President Andrzej Duda takes the lead in the first round of the presidential election by getting about 46% of the vote. Exit polls show no candidate has achieved 50% of the vote needed for an all-out majority. Duda will now have to face the Warsaw mayor, Rafał Trzaskowski, in a runoff on July the 12th. Trzaskowski received about 30.5% of the vote. Final results from the first round are expected to be released later in the week.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The result is by far better than the one from 5 years ago and with 10 other candidates. Thank you very much for your support. But first and foremost, I would like to thank my compatriots for the turnout, for this massive participation in the election. I thank you with all my heart.
In France, President Emmanuel Macron's ruling party has suffered a major defeat in the second round of municipal elections. Exit polls say Macron's rival Europe Ecology Party has won in major cities including Lyon, Bordeaux, Strasbourg, Poitiers, Besançon, and Marseille. This comes after the first round of polling on March 15th failed to produce a decisive outcome. The French Prime Minister Edouard Philippe was also elected mayor of the northern port city of Le Havre in a rare bright spot for Macron as he lost ground. In the French capital, Paris, Mayor Anne Hidalgo also declared victory in a re-election bid.
You have chosen hope. You have chosen to come together. You have chosen a Paris that breathes, a Paris that is more pleasant to live in, a city that is more united, that leaves no one aside.
France's 35,000 mayors decide on policy issues from urban planning to education and the environment. In Spain, meanwhile, tourists are opting for inland holidays to avoid crowded beaches and cities after the country eased the COVID-19 lockdown. More on that now in this report.
The COVID-19 pandemic hit Spain harder than most countries, with more than 28,000 deaths so far, and a 3-month lockdown that crippled the tourism sector that accounts for 12% of the economy and employs 1 in 8. As the country's holiday industry struggles to recover, Spanish holidaymakers are heading to the hills rather than going abroad.
Regarding the international impact, we have noticed much less foreign tourism to the area because the borders are closed. So the inland tourism is being strengthened. Before, people traveled to Rome, Berlin or Paris, but currently we are going back. They are opening other options and discovering inland tourism.
A campsite owner is banking on tourists abandoning crowded beaches in favor of rural peace and quiet.
We are at the Ronda range of mountains among 3 natural parks, the Grazalema Mountain, Sierra de las Nieves, and the Park of Los Alcornocales, an amazing and privileged enclave. We are also very close to Gibraltar, to Costa del Sol. So this is an option now with the issue of coronavirus. We have benefited by tourism compared with that of the hotels.
Though Spain has reopened its border to European tourists, the summer season is only tentatively resuming.
The US-based car manufacturer Tesla says it has stopped receiving federal tax subsidies. In a tweet, CEO Elon Musk says the company receives the least subsidies of any automaker in the United States. Musk said the federal tax credit applies to other automaker EVs, but no longer to Tesla. In a survey conducted by the consumer intelligence company, Tesla's cars have been ranked the worst in quality. It said Tesla, which is viewed as a leader in the automotive industry, performed the worst among 32 brands. Meanwhile, Tesla earned record high sales of its models manufactured in China in May. European stock markets are trading mixed as investors continue to digest the rise in COVID-19 death toll. Investors are fearing a second round of lockdown restrictions as stocks register a muted rally. Frankfurt's DAX is trading fractionally higher. The CAC 40 in Paris has lost a fraction, while London's FTSE 100 is trading flat. In Asia, the Nikkei 225 led the gains, closing over 2% lower as fast retailing and conglomerate SoftBank Group stocks dropped over 2% each. Seoul's Kospi Index lost about 2%, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng closed over 1% lower. The Shanghai Composite lost over 0.5%. Meanwhile, the international benchmark Brent crude oil price has lost over 1.5%. Time now to find out what the weather is like around the world. For the latest updates on these and other stories, you can always follow us on our social media at Indus.News. Thanks very much for watching.